Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and this is going to be a co-podcast. I'm going to be joined by Spillin the Tea, my friends Darin and Candiss from Arkadelphia, the metropolis of Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and they're going to join us in just a moment. It's going to be a co-podcast, a collaboration. But before that, I did want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the program, IXL. If you're an educator, I'm sure you've heard of them and appreciate their sponsorship. Let's hear how they can help you.
I'd like to thank IXL for sponsoring today's podcast. Over 1 million teachers use IXL in their classroom every day. IXL is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It empowers schools with complete curriculum, thousands of instructional resources, robust reporting, assessment data, and more. It saves teachers a lot of valuable time with ready-made plans aligned to the standards and the textbooks. Built-in engagement tools like custom competitions make learning fun for students. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments. And the best part? Everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your students towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes, and again, appreciate IXL sponsoring today's podcast.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for that. Check them out in the show notes. But this is a collaborative process. This is a collaboration here. This is not just Education, Leadership, Beyond. This is Spilling the Tea in Studio D. Hello, friend.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Darin, hello. Good afternoon.
How are you?
You good. You made it.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
No, you were all worried about Darin getting on the program, and you're the one that had some hurdles.
Hey,
Not my.
let me just say this. She's the diva of the podcast. And what I mean by that, she always has to make a grand entrance. So
He lies. He lies.
It's the norm.
Darin, are you in your garage?
No, man, I'm in my little home office / closet almost.
Okay. Okay.
Darin, let's do this. Live from the Studio E in Arkadelphia.
Right. Here we go. Exactly.
Candiss Bennett, everybody. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, Darin, you got your own introduction too. After being around you for some time here, you got your own introduction.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
very, very familiar with that sound.
The Darin Beckwith, Studio D. Darin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it's nice to be with your friends, and I loved Candace's idea to have a collaboration here. And let's get started. You got a big thing going on here. You got 40-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's actually the 40-year anniversary of what we call educational co-ops in the state of Arkansas. I know I don't look like it, but I was actually a senior in high school when they started. So. But we've hit every corner of the state. There's 15 of them in the state, and they're located regionally. So we took it upon ourselves to highlight them, and it's really been fun. And I think Candiss will agree that one of the neatest parts is getting to learn more about our counterparts at these other co-ops.
Yes. And seeing parts of the state that we've never seen. So traveling Arkansas, Murata.
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly.
Our friend Jeff Collum is watching there, formerly of a school district there. He's out at Arch Ford there. So, Candiss, we're traveling around the state, meeting all these different people. What are a couple things that you've learned by doing this activity?
I mean, it's great to kind of hear from everyone, and they can kind of share what their focus is, whether it be early childhood or just a big part of our organization is service. And so it's a lot of very strong with relationships, and they may just give you some ideas that you can take back and give to your schools or people in our co-op. They may have had a speaker that's come in and, like we've been able to share about Murata with some of our co-ops, and they've had you come and present. So a lot of sharing and just seeing kind of what they've got going on and how they're handling their districts, and a lot of the changes with learns and everything else that's coming down.
Yeah. Well, cool idea to travel around and meet the people. You guys got the show, you got the idea, and it's nice to be able to highlight and meet some other people there. Darin, how about you? What's the process been like for you, and what are some of your takeaways?
Well, the professional side of it was incredible, because I really feel like each co-op probably has something that they're very good at. And the thing about two things in our name, cooperative and service. I've been doing this now for 10 years in this spot. And I really feel like we're working more together now than we ever have been. Again, if somebody has, can maybe is better at something than we are, we're not at all ashamed to ask for help, or can you even, maybe help guide us through this? But the thing probably for me, the biggest takeaway was just the personality side, when we get to see and get to see them loosen up, if you will. Talk to them about, their career path to education, how they ended up where they are, that from, their playlist, these kinds of things. So it's been really cool to get to learn more on the personal side. I like that a lot.
Yeah, cool. Friends, if you're watching live, jump in the chat, say hello, let us know where you're coming from, whether you're in Arkansas or up here in the Northeast, where it's already dark and cold, and it's only 4:40. So
yeah, they're probably listening to our lovely country accents, or at least mine anyway.
Well,
I love it. Get down there to hot springs and put yourself in the hot tub.
Yeah, it's actually the last 2 days we've been kicking around 80 degrees, believe it or not. Yeah, but it's supposed to be getting colder again. Now, that's the great thing about Arkansas weather. If you don't like it, hang around a couple of days. It's going to change. So
Every time.
Yeah. I did hear that for sure. Yeah. Cool. Candiss, you mentioned about bringing in programs, right? And people, and Darin and both of you have a big decision, right? Hey, how do we push this out to our people? Well, should we sign off on this program? How do you make that decision to say, yep, we're gonna go with this program for reading in our county. We're going to go with this. We are going to sign off Dawson Educational. What are some of your deciding factors when you pick a program or a person?
Well, really, we have a board of directors, which consists of our superintendents. We have 22 districts, and we really like to run a lot of those ideas through them and see if it's going to be beneficial. One of the things that when I watched one of your podcasts, one of the administrators was talking about breakthrough coach. So we looked it up. We Darin and I discussed it. Do we think this would be beneficial for our districts? And then we push it out to them at a board meeting or schedule a Zoom and say, hey, here is something that we saw. We think it could really impact your leaders. Is this something that you are interested in? And, in most of the time, we'll have some interest, and it depends on the funds that the districts have. And we may have 5 or 6 of our districts that'll join together to implement the program. Capturing Kids' Hearts is another one. It's just they kind of share the cost of some things. And then we also have what's called a professional development consortium, and our districts all contribute to that. And then we do like a needs assessment survey for each of our districts and say, what do you need in the area of math, literacy, science, leadership, mental health, whatever that may be. And then we take that needs assessment survey, sit down and talk to all of our specialists and say, hey, what are we going to offer this summer? What's going to have the biggest impact for our kids in our districts? So,
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And I like the being prescriptive piece about it, as Candice said. I mean, as you well know, it doesn't matter what you're doing in this business. It's about the relationships. So thankful for us. Obviously, we have some fantastic schools, and Candice and I have developed some close relationships through the years. So we can have some hard conversations that need be, or we can sit down with an admin team at a district and say, okay, what is it you really want to zero in? And then we go out. I had a district, for instance, was needing some training for his school board out. We have a couple of people in Arkansas that do it, but he said, I'm looking for something a little different. So, we got out there, got to looking, and we're able to connect them with a company that really helped them meet the need that they were looking for.
Nice. Well, I don't want to hog all the questions, guys. I got some more stuff for you, but I want to share with you too. What do you got for me, Darin?
Well, I mean, what's hot up in your, educationally speaking, up in your part of the country? I mean,
hey, you got a new book, right?
Yeah.
The new book is out. You paying attention, Candice?
Yeah.
I'll read your newsletters occasionally when I have time.
Yeah.
The new book, I was just telling Darin about it. If you're not a hotline caller, friends, if you've never heard of it, it's called the Success Hotline. It's not a gimmick. No one's trying to sell you anything. It's just a man who has dedicated his life to helping other people. That's Dr. Rob Gilbert, 973-743-4690. I'll put that in the chat. And Candice, I've been calling that number since 2014. It's a 3-minute message daily about success. And Dr. Rob has changed my life. It's been a blessing. And, you just never know when people are going to come out and help you, right? And the help is there. And so the book is a dedication to him. The book is a dedication to the hotline. And I told Darin, I said, he's like Yoda. Mm-hmm. And we have the opportunity to be like, Jedis, Luke Skywalker, learning the ways of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Pass it on down, huh? Pass it on down. Yeah.
In 3 minutes is about Candice's attention span. So that'll be great for her.
That's true. That's probably true. I'll admit to that one. And I have called it, and it's really cool.
Well, I concur. I'm going to put that in there, 4690. But here locally, y'all running a podcast there, Spillin the Tea in Studio D. I think that's great. It rhymes. Mm-hmm. But a podcast is a great way to amplify your school district, to amplify your schools. We have a podcast here in Port Jervis. I actually just got done. Our elementary play is this weekend, Frozen Kids.
Oh, wow.
I got to interview the director. I got to interview kids that are in the play. I got to interview the stage crew, right? Yeah. And then I wheeled the computer in and they sang a song, and that was live. It's live on Facebook. It's live on our social medias. And just podcasting in schools is a great way to tell our story, a great way to amplify the learning. So,
well, and it's interesting you say that. I was at a speaking engagement earlier today with a library media specialist, and we were talking back and forth, and that's what we try to do. What we've learned for us, we've got kind of a mobile setup, and that has really expanded our ability to go out and meet folks. And I think people are more likely to do that because it was kind of hard getting them scheduled in the actual studio. But anyway, out of that, it's funny you mentioned elementary because there was one of them said that their East initiative there has an elementary East, one of the few Hot Springs school district, and they're just starting a podcast. And she said, hey, would you guys be willing to come in and coach them up? And I said, man, we'll do you one better. I said, we're happy to do that, but we're also happy to do kind of this dual thing with them. And we've done that actually with another high school. One of our small rural districts was just starting a podcast. So, I mean, and that's the thing. I tell people a couple of things. It's not as expensive as you think it might be. And second of all, if Candice can do it, I promise anybody can.
Yeah, listen, I was about to say Darin's the mastermind behind all this because he's a former DJ. I just got told I was going to do this as other duties as assigned. Okay, former math teacher here.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I can do it, anybody can. But going back to just the awesome things that we've been able to do, like some of the places we've been in schools, but then we've also been able to go to the zoo, to Crystal Bridges Art Museum, and share with all these districts what they offer and what they can bring back. And the schools can call them and have them come to them. So it's just, I don't know. I love the podcast. One, because you get to know people on a personal level, but two, you just get to learn new ideas and you just get to share things. Darin asks a lot of times, what's great advice and maybe some of the worst advice. Well, people that are listening, I mean, it's a lot of encouragement and some really good advice. So anyway, he does a great job with it. I'm just kind of like the, extra co-host that I let him pick on me occasionally and I'll pick on him, but it is pretty cool.
I would say she has grown astronomically. I mean, the very first one we did, and again, we're not big time like you. I think we hit 100 episodes this past week. So, I mean, that's where we are.
Okay.
Yeah. So, from the very first one to where we've become now, I mean, she was so nervous in the beginning. She showed up with, a bunch of prepared questions, and that's not how we roll this podcast. That's it. Because my first question would have been, what is that? Then I would have ripped them up. We really try to get folks, on the conversational side. So
I tell them it drives me crazy because I'm so ADD and I'm like, oh yeah, I thought of something to ask, but then like a minute later, he's talking and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot what I was going to ask. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Candice, use the word share, and you certainly share on the podcast, but there's a bright light above your head. And I like to use the word spotlight, that we as podcast hosters get to spotlight other people. They get to shine. They get to share. And Darin, I agree with you. It's not expensive. It's not the fancy equipment. It's not all that kind of stuff. No. It's the person. It's the relationship. Yeah. And then the outreach. Like, again, people are watching live. If you are watching, jump in. I like that dynamic that people can jump in and say hello, ask a question.
Yeah,
I think that is a great way to communicate.
Well, and you mentioned live. Now, we don't do a tremendous amount of live stuff, but where we've kind of gained traction is like for instance, the Arkansas does in the summer, they do a yearly conference for all administrators with all the districts in the state of Arkansas. So we'll set up our podcast and we go for about anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. But we'll do about, I mean, it's kind of like man on the street stuff. The first year we went, there were some apprehensive people, but now literally we're having to tell folks, if we can get you in, we'll get you in. because how superintendents love to brag about their districts, right? And so if they see, let's say the Cross County guy, the guy across the county sitting at the table, they're like, hey, when's my turn? So that's been fun, but and we've done a couple of different live things, but yeah.
Cool. Well, let me ask you this question, Candice. We'll start with you, and then we can bounce Darin with a different question. We're in education. The internet not going away, and certainly now AI is here, and everyone's kind of learning about it. First, it was quiet. Oh my God, people are using it. They're using it in different manners. As a creative artist, people say, "Oh, just plug it in ChatGPT, plug it in," and I still want to create my own stuff. I still want to do it. I know it's a tool, but how do we work this into what we're doing? How do we change what we're doing? How do we introduce this into schools versus saying, hey kids, you can't use this, versus, hey, this is the way the world, professionals are using it. How are you guys handling that, bringing it into schools?
Yeah, that's a great question, Andrew. That's a great question. I really don't think that you have to change everything. I think you just learn to incorporate it, like you said. How can a teacher take this tool and use it as they're creating essays or as they're reviewing? It's pretty new still. I mean, we have a technology communication specialist, and she's been really kind of looking into some of that. Darin, he's created songs on, and I think that it's another tool is kind of how we see it. It's just a tool that they can use. And these kids that have grown up with it their whole lives, they're going to start teaching, and they're going to know exactly when to pull it in, when not to. We've heard that some teachers are now going back to paper, pencil occasionally to write some things just so that they're seeing what the kids are thinking, and that's okay. And then there may be times in their class where they can, utilize this technology. I think about a long time ago when smart boards just were introduced, and I went to my principal when I was teaching and said, I want one of those. And he was like, well, if you're going to use it for a whiteboard, it's not going to happen. He said, but I'll get it. And if you learn it, you can train people. So I got it and I trained people, and it was amazing. I did a lot of cool things with it. So I feel like if I was in the classroom now, I'd be learning all I could about all the AI, all those platforms, and how I can use it. But it's going to make a lot of things easier. It's also going to be a little scary. I don't know, Darin. I mean, like, we've had this conversation about what all is it going to be able to do, and our schools have, our districts statewide have gone to a no cell, bell to bell. So kids, can't have their cell. And of course they're going to have Chromebooks and things like that. But I think our teachers, they're already figuring out ways that sometimes they're going to use it. Sometimes they're not going to use it. So basically just as a tool, learn as much as you can. We have some people coming in this summer. You're going to come and present to our administrators that following day or that afternoon. We're going to have somebody come and speak to leaders. How can you use AI in your profession to save you hours of work? So there's going to be pros and cons, and you're going to have to learn as much as you can. But I say use it as a tool, and it's like I said, everything has pros and cons. Everything.
Yeah. Okay. Darin, different question for you. You mentioned you were in a district, right? You're the leader there in Dawson Educational Service. Going in, telling people what to do or telling people the problem versus coaching them up. There's certainly a different way, and you certainly know people. You've mentioned relationships a bunch of times. Tell me about you when you see the problem, and maybe it's the person sitting across from you,
right?
But you can't go in there and say the problem's you. How do you coach somebody up in a positive way when there are some issues, there are some problems, versus telling them what's wrong?
Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, by asking pointed questions. And really create, again, the relationship and them knowing it's a safe space. As Candiss said, we have, our 22 districts, our board is made up of those superintendents, and they may call, just to vent. They may call and say, hey, like one of the things that we're doing this year, they handed off to the co-ops this year, where we're doing the beginning administrator training. And so every brand new administrator, principals, APs, and superintendents. Candiss kind of takes the principal side. I take the superintendents. I've got a couple, and they've been administrators before, but never been the guy. And so, having, conversations and have you, the old, have you thought about this? Or, when they say, well, am I looking at this the correct way? And obviously there's really no right or wrong way. But once you get in your groove, you'll know. And getting brand new position, but we've got one that's brand new to the district, so he's having to learn lots of stuff. He's drinking from the proverbial fire hose. But just to encourage them and say, hey, it will get better. That's one of the things. But as far as if we see things, it's the pointed questions, and from that we drill down a little bit and say, well, again, I can relate that back to if I have a similar situation, or just say, sounds like you're on the right track kind of thing.
I like it. Well, I'll throw it back to you guys. What do you got for me?
Well, I don't know that we've ever asked you. Again, I think I know you call the hotline, but Candiss, I mean, this is a question that we learn a lot by this question. Is just the best piece of advice you've ever gotten, and probably the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten.
I like it. I like it. I will take a different spin on it. We're constantly filtering, right? Constantly filtering. I believe that success leaves clues.
Oh yeah.
Number one, I like that Brene Brown said, don't take advice or don't take an opinion or an offer from someone who you wouldn't ask them their advice. We as leaders, me as a referee,
yes.
me as a dad, right? If I'm at a party and there's maybe a person that maybe I don't respect, or I see the way his or her family might be reacting, and they say, well, you should be doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty picky on who I'm taking my advice from, right? I want to admire that person. I want to see, what it is they have, right? I believe success leaves clues.
Right.
Successful leaders like yourself, right? I'm going to say, oh, what does Darin do? What does Darin do? And again, the podcast allows you to kind of ask those questions.
Oh, yeah.
The podcast is for other people, but I get to learn a lot. So
sure, same here.
The best advice is, I would say, is to be selective of who you asking that advice from.
So what about the worst advice?
The worst advice, I don't think there's any failures. I think there's only feedback. Someone could give you advice, and it doesn't work for you. You learn not to do it again. I remember my wife taking my kids' hands and touching it on the hot pot and saying "hot," and they learned by doing it. I would say the best, the worst. Back to the best. Like, I don't think there's no magic pill.
Right.
You watch the news, you watch you want to be in shape, take this pill. You want to look ripped, take this, drink this thing. It's, you got to work out, you got to work out.
Right. Now, I was going to say, let's go back to this referee, because I want to know, have you ever gotten into a fight with somebody in the stands or anything?
Well, here's what my light just went out here. Here's what I'll say about the fight in the stands. So one time I was at a place and the crowd was really bad, really off color, and I was like, I'm gonna put a stop to this. And I start going over to the scores table. There's always a what they call a game director there, someone who's like, and I was going over to go engage with them, and my head referee grabbed my shoulder and he said, Andrew, if you can hear it, they can hear it. We're policing the game.
Right.
Don't get involved with the fans. Don't get involved with anything in the crowd. You focus on the game. And I heard this, here's great advice, Darin. One of the best referees I was ever around. He called it calm between the lines.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I know the rules. I got the whistle, and I'm between the lines. I don't have to focus on anything going on out there. I don't have to worry about this or worry about that. Once I'm between the lines, all I got to do is focus on the game. I'm focused on that. So people say, oh, how'd you do it? People yelling at you.
Yeah.
I barely even heard them.
Yeah.
Because I was so focused on dialed in. It's kind of like white noise. Like every once in a while you'd hear a word, especially if it was a half empty high school gym. You certainly can hear them then. Those packed houses, it was white noise. So I never got involved with the crowd.
Yeah, and we talk about too, some of the best lessons that we've learned has come from bad advice. Don't let them see you smile, look Christmas, or things like that when you're an early educator. Bad advice, but you learn what not to do. And so that's the thing about advice. I think you're right. I love that, like you said, like Brene Brown, I'll clean it up a little bit, but don't take advice from anybody that wouldn't get in the arena and want to whip some behind with you.
Yeah.
If they're not willing to do that, then their advice is null and void at that point.
Well, and just like we were chatting about earlier, my kids are teenagers now, right? You can't tell them anything,
Right.
But we try to guide them in the right direction. We try to guide them. So today's my parents. I lost my dad many years ago. You've heard that story, but today's my parents' 60th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Aww.
Yeah, my mom very emotional today. But I'm going to write a blog about what it is I learned from my parents about things. Most of the stuff I want, but certainly some of the stuff they did. Back then it's like, smoking, right? They both smoked. And they didn't really know back then, right? Those are things I learned. So that's coming to a theater near you, thinking about advice and all of that. Sorry, Candice, you were going to say something.
No, you're good. I was when you said anniversary, my 30th was 2 days ago. So
you're halfway there.
Halfway.
Exactly.
Well, guys, listen, it's the week before Thanksgiving. Just mentioned my parents. So, Darin, how about you? What are you thankful for here as we open the holiday season? We're literally a week away. So, what are you thankful
for sure, family. I'm blessed with the fact that both my parents are still alive, and the other blessing is my siblings. We all live probably within a half hour of one another, so they're close. We have one son and a daughter-in-law. They're 3 hours away, so they come down. So family for sure. And again, the other thing I'm really thankful for, it's like I told somebody today about, this job. It's the best job I've ever had. And, and being blessed with the people that we work with. I mean, there's a thing, and I wish I should have been thinking, and I would have loaded the video to loop it. But a couple of weeks ago, again, being an old radio guy, I love music, and it's always blasting in my office. And really, I don't really care what's going on. So I've just got some real eclectic playlists going from time to time. And I'm sitting there one day. I don't know if you're familiar with "Achy Breaky Heart" from Billy Ray Cyrus, right? So it's blasting, and I kind of feel something behind me. I had my back turned, and when I turn around, it's Candice, the business manager, and one of the assistant business managers. They're in there doing the cha-cha slide or whatever they were doing.
Electric slide.
Okay. One of the slides. And so the funny thing is, it was just a kind of a really cool moment to take in. And then Candice says, "Man, don't we just love our jobs?" And that's what I say. You got to learn to laugh for sure. I mean, if you're going to work with the two of us, you're going to have fun. I mean, we work super hard. There's no doubt about it. But we also find a way to have fun.
Yep.
I like it. Beautiful, Darin. Candice, how about you? What are you grateful for?
Oh my gosh. I could just ride on for days, but for sure family. I mean, there's just so many blessings in my life, my faith and just family and my job, I give Darin a hard time, but we all are very thankful that, we get to work with him, and, he's a good boss. Don't tell him I said that, but just everything. My gosh. I mean, football. It's football season. Absolutely. I'm so excited. We just have so many things that we take for granted. And, I think get up every day and just start listing the things that you're thankful for. Because sometimes, we get in our heads and we can tend to be negative, and you just got to shift to that mindset and say, hey, I've got so many great things, going, that there's really nothing to complain about, because, and we are, Darin's right. We're going to have fun. I mean, we got to laugh, and, taking it, something y'all said earlier, if we could get kids, you got teenagers, and Darin and I have young adults, our kids are young adults, but the quicker they can learn, don't worry about what everybody else thinks. Just be you and have fun. I've talked to my daughter about this. When I was a middle school principal, tried to get it across to them, but the quicker the kids and even adults, we learn to just be like, hey, have fun, be you, and who cares? People are going to have an opinion. Let them have an opinion, and don't worry about it. I think it would just make everything a little bit better. Go ahead.
And when we grew up, like, we might not even have heard that opinion. Whereas now,
Yes,
they're accepting all those opinions, and they're watching everyone's opinion. It's like,
yes,
you don't have to rely on that. They're just so used to it.
Yes. And my nieces are middle school, 6th and 9th grade. And, my sister and myself, my mother, like, we've all taken time to try to invest in them and build their confidence and say, be confident, be proud of who you are. Saw something the other day about a lady that was getting made fun of because of her nose. And she was like, you know what? I've got my dad's nose, and that makes me think of my dad, and I was like, that is such a great thing to share with kids. Like, this is, how God made you. Be proud, be happy. It's, it reminds you of your family and what you got from them. So anyway, just anything that we can do to help kids build that confidence, because it's such with social media, like you said, it's so hard. They got it constantly.
Well, let me ask you this again. Holiday season, but that means New Year's Eve is coming too. I'm not a big believer in New Year's resolutions, right? I'm a believer in you could change your habits.
Sure.
So Darin and then Candiss, what's maybe either a habit you want to add or something you want to stop here looking into 2026?
Well, looking into 26, I'm a big fan of the book One Word. Matter of fact, that was kind of
I remember that.
The bottom line of my presentation today. But this year, my word is move. Right? If you see something, just don't dwell on it. Move. So
move, M-O-V-E.
M-O-V-E. Yeah, bust a move. I've got it right here on the bracelet. Yeah. So. But with that being said, that opens it up for a lot of things. So if there are things I need to work on, instead of thinking about it and just overthinking it, just move, go. I give you a couple examples of what I've done this year. I've never read the Bible cover to cover. So I said, you know what, this is the year I'm moving. I'm going to do it. And so I'm in the middle of doing that. My folks had a neighbor. My folks not really able to, cut the grass. So my wife and I are doing our rotation with the siblings. And I said, what's up with the neighbor's yard? It looks like an Australian bush over there. It's bad. And they're like, well, he's had health trouble. He's in the hospital. So I told my wife, I said, let's do it. So we jumped over there, move. And just the other day on one of our road trips, Candiss and I were taking a refreshment break, I guess you could say, at McDonald's. We get out. And as soon as the door opens, the guy's on me. He goes, man, can you buy me a biscuit? And I was like, yeah, man, gave the guy $5. I said, God bless you. And Candice said, he's not going to buy a biscuit. I said, hey, that's between him and Jesus. I was just moved to give the man some money. I mean, I got to trust that he will do good, but if he doesn't, that's on him. So
I said, you should have went and bought him the biscuit. Yeah.
So. But, as far as something, new is just is just keep learning. That's the thing. You talk about AI and, I would say I would want to be more like the young people are with it. I mean, it's kind of like when computers first came out, we were afraid to touch them. We were going to break them. Same way with AI. I mean, we've got this one guy that helps in our technology department. And I mean, he understands it. He knows how to frame things, and just learning from him, how to use it for good. So yeah, always learning. So like I say, I just want to keep on learning.
Well, Candiss, before we get to you, here's one you could add to your move. You ready? It's in the book. Yeah. It's in I learned it from Dr. Gilbert. Okay. Your actions change your attitudes. Yep. Your emotions change your emotions, and your movements change your moods, right? Sometimes we don't feel like it.
Right.
We'll get moving, right? And then you may, right? So it's important that we get moving. You have a rough meeting, you have a rough conversation. Let's get up and walk. Let's get up and stretch. Let's get up and breathe. Your actions change your attitudes. Your emotions change your emotions, and your movements change your movements.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love that.
What do you got, Candice? What's something, a habit you're going to look to add, or something you're going to look to stop here in 2026?
I don't ever do New Year's resolutions. I'm like,
Yeah, that's why I
I
don't want to
try.
call it that.
Yeah,
Habit.
just a habit. I don't know. I think continue. I have a post-it on my mirror in my bathroom that I see every day. And my pastor actually was preaching on it one day, and it was rejoice, pray, and give thanks. So I think just to continue that, but to be intentional, to remember that and to truly give thanks instead of, because, I get in my head occasionally, and I don't know, Darin would probably say I need to quit cussing, which I have been better. Like, if we're going to talk about, our favorite sins over here. Okay. Yeah. I really have been better. Yeah. I blame my parent. I blame my dad. I get it from my dad. Okay.
Well, I really want to lean into that study I heard about the other day, that it's really intelligent people that do the majority of the cussing. I mean,
I like that.
So I'm running with that myself. So
I only cuss when Darin makes me mad. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only time.
So that's a lot of cussing.
That's a whole lot of cussing. Yeah. If I had $1 for every swear word she said, I'd retire.
No, it's not that bad, but that is something that I really am trying to be better at. So
but that goes back to having that outlet. You know what I'm saying? Behind closed doors, and knowing it's a safe space, and to get that out and to get through it. I mean, sometimes it's just necessary.
Yeah,
it's just an adjective, really.
That's right.
He needs to work on that too. But I won't throw him on the bus.
I tell people all the time, hey, I swear, but I love some Jesus. So, he's still working on me.
Well, I'll try to mute you out if you do one. I'll give you one of those.
Yeah.
Try to mute it out.
What about you, Murata? What about you?
Yeah. Again, I think our habits are everything. Our habits make us. Again, I don't believe in resolutions, but I do believe in building our habits. One of the acronyms is OADB, on a daily basis. I got an injury over here. I got I got a little elbow. I got a tennis elbow. It doesn't sound very masculine, but it hurts like heck.
Oh yeah.
But even that exercise, that movement every day, even if it's 20, 30 minutes, I'm doing it. So number one is on a daily basis. But I got the itch about writing. That this book just came out. I've dipped my toe into the world of fiction writing.
Okay.
I've started a fiction inspirational book inspired by the great Andy Andrews. If you've never read The Traveler's Gift, I highly recommend it. But I spent some time with Andy this summer. He's a great writer, a great friend, great mentor. Literally, like you hear this in a movie, right? I woke up at 3:15 in the morning. Woke up, bam! I was, and I went to the office. I had the whole outline of a fiction inspiration book. So I've been waiting to finish this project, and I'm about halfway done with that. So I'll know come 2026. And different than my other books, those were nonfiction. So I could write a little here, write a little there, because it was nonfiction. The fiction, I gotta you mend the stories together. I gotta get some momentum going. I can't just jump in the pool for 5 minutes and get out. I got to be in the pool to immerse in the story. So I'm looking on, a writing retreat, a couple of days where I'm all in on that. And my guess is I'll finish the whole thing in one weekend because I'm so excited about it. So.
Well, it's interesting you say that about waking up and writing things down. And I'm not kidding. I'm like at 25 journals. I journal a lot. But what I'm saying, they're not all full. I mean, there's bits and pieces, but I've got one by my recliner, in my nightstand, one in my vehicle, all over the place at work. And my wife, she is so, I mean, not that she's not a creative, she's just super organized. And she said, it just would make sense to put all those thoughts in one book. And I said, yeah, but I kind of look at it like this, when I'm dead and gone and you keep finding these nuggets that I've left you, I mean, what a tremendous gift that's going to be, right?
Well, I urge you like your wife. I mean, that's how my books came together. So
Yeah,
definitely something to think about, Darren, with your
sure.
personality.
Yeah.
We're going to have, I haven't set the date, but it's going to be January, I think January 2nd. I'm right around New Year's, but we're going to have my 4th Write My Book seminar.
Okay.
So maybe you would come and attend. Those are live. They're
Yeah.
awesome. And
Yeah.
all those people that are sitting on ideas, we do that live. We dive into the writing, we dive into publishing, we dive into editing.
Okay.
Maybe we'll snag you this year.
This math teacher will not be joining that webinar. Okay. Darin can write his book. He would actually be pretty good at writing a book, but yeah, I can't. This brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's kick it, Darin.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I was going to tell you today too, just like you, I mean, I get a huge kick just getting to visit with and different groups. But one of the things that I like to remind them is, just how, I mean, again, you don't take yourself too serious, because what we do is super serious for sure. But I have this ugly coffee cup. It's in a glass case on my desk at work, and people, it really looks like some kind of ancient artifact, right? But I tell them it's a artifact, and there's a story that goes with it. There was a young man one year when I was high school principal. He came in and to tell me the first day of school that he had all of, he didn't get to graduate with his class, so there was no reason to graduate. Anyway, long story short, we get him lined up with the credits he's got to have, and one of the things that he needed was an elective. So I sent him out to the local community college for pottery, and so we were always joking, in the office back then as well. And I had this ugly cup, and I'm like, okay, who did this? Flip it over, it's got his name on it. So in the South, we have a saying when somebody kind of gets to you, oh, so and so dipped in my bucket or dipped out of my bucket. So I tell people that's what I use to fill my bucket up with. But it's been probably a month or so ago, I heard the story about the college professor. He was up there and he says to the students, he said, I've got this cup of coffee, and and if you're walking along and somebody bumps into you and you spill your coffee, he said, well, why did you spill your coffee? And they're like, oh, that's easy, because somebody bumped into you. And he was like, nope, that's the point. He said, you spilled coffee because that is what was in your cup. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so true. So I remind those folks, hey, what are you toting around in your cup every day? And if somebody happens to bump into you or have a little bit of a rough day, what's going to spill out? So great analogy there.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, I like the heart effect there, man.
Yeah.
That was good. Candice, how about a closing statement like your friend just gave there? Because I got soccer here. I got to get tested.
Uh-oh.
Hey, well, I know
don't miss those days, do we?
Yeah, no, we don't. We do not miss those. We don't miss those duty days anymore, huh? I was just kind of bounce off what Darin was talking about. It goes back to relationships. You have a lot of administrators that watch your podcast, and it's all about, kids, they're not going to remember a lot of the math or the science or whatever, but they are going to remember how you treated them and if you believed in them. And just as an administrator, learn their names, not just ones that are frequent flyers in your office. Get out there. It can be done. I've done it at several districts. Learn the kids' names, first names, whatever, and then get to know them. Find those kids that are on the bubble that they're going to quit. I don't know. I have a heart for the underdog. So does Darin. And I feel like that's where we can make such a huge impact, because they don't have anybody. So as educators, we need to be that person, get them on the right path so they can be successful. So I would just encourage everybody to build those relationships. And even when it's hard, just focus on, those small wins that you get.
Awesome stuff. Candiss Bennett, Darin Beckwith, great stories, This was nice to chat. Let's.
Oh, absolutely.
Candiss, you said it last year. Let's do it again. Well, I think
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
do this
Yeah.
again. This was fun. Yeah.
Hey, and we're
Yeah.
looking forward to you coming to this time. You're going to be in Malvern, my hometown. This
Yeah.
summer.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We'll have some fun there for sure. Yeah.
Get the lowdown on Candiss from the folks that she not only did she attend school, she taught school there. So
All good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Of course.
Maybe we might have to do a podcast at the local pub, Darin, me and
yeah,
you.
yeah, there we go.
Ask
Absolutely.
who knows Candiss here?
That's
Get
right.
the old timers come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Exactly.
Except
Well,
there's no pubs in Malvern because it was a dry county until what, last year, Darin?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe me and Darin will open one.
That's
Candiss
right.
is
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. Making lemon out of lemonade right there.
There you
for sure.
go. There you go.
I'll leave y'all with a story too. You both shared good stories. I love learning from movies. You asked about advice. Just I always find something in a movie. But it's got to be a good movie. Don't be throwing me in front of some junk.
Yeah.
I love music. I love art. So we watched Bob Marley's movie, The One Love, the story of Bob Marley. So it's near the end of the movie. He is making and creating a redemption song, right? One of his greatest hits. He's writing it. His back is facing, and he's playing it. And his wife walks in, and she hears the end of the song, and he turns around and he kind of looks at her, and she said, "Bob, that was beautiful. When did you write that?" And he paused and he looked at her and he said, "My whole life."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
My whole life. So I turned 50 this year. I feel like I'm in a different stratosphere other than getting hurt. Everything hurts now. But I feel like all these experiences, all these things you asked about advice before, Darin, like good or bad, like they have made me who I am. The wins and the losses, they've made me the relationships, good and bad, right? It all has been part of it, which has put me where I'm at today, which is have put what's in my cup,
That's right. That's right.
So my whole life. So that's what I'm thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
So I'll end with that story, but it's been fun to chat with you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Leadership, laughter, and learning.
Yeah, always a good time. Always a good time.
Always.
We're looking forward to seeing. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you in June.
Cool. Real quick, where can people find Spillin the Tea? Where can they find you?
Oh, anywhere you get your podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on YouTube. So
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. So
you can't keep a good man down.
Nah. But when you got Candiss to lean on, it's easy to do, right?
That's it. We know who the brains behind the operation.
100%.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's not a spotlight above her. That's just the angel that she is.
That's it. I started to say that earlier. That's just my halo. That's my halo.
Oh Lord, I'm sitting too close to a window. Lightning's about to strike somebody.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off. I got to go to soccer. This has been great, friends. I wish you good health and happiness, and certainly happy Thanksgiving.
Right. You too. Thank you now. We'll see.
Thanks.
All right, friends. We're going to sign off here in the podcast. Keep surviving and thriving. And it's great to be around amazing people. Darin Beckwith and Candiss Bennett. Dawson Educational Service Cooperative.
Exactly. Yep.
Bam. See you, friends.
All right. See you.